Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to look at what happened to Prism Star stadiums. You see, we were all getting ready for Prism Star stadiums, and then some of them came out and we're like, yeah, we're getting Prism Stars for every type, and then they just went away. We should have got 10 or 11 Prism Star stadiums. It's up to you to decide whether we should have had one for colourless or not. We got 5, which means basically half of the types we got Prism Star stadiums for, and half the types we just didn't. And that's incredibly strange to me. Let's have a look, shall we? So Prism Star cards actually started back in Ultra Prism. Now, back in Ultra Prism, we got a whole bunch of Pokemon like Solgaleo Prism Star, used as an example because by far my favourite of them. And then as a little bit of a, hey, it's not just Pokemon, they went and chucked us an energy in the form of Super Boost Energy, and they went and chucked us a supporter card in terms of Cyrus. And fun fact, Cyrus actually had to be reprinted because it was printed with a moderately large error on it, which was a little bit silly. And we were like, so it's not just Pokemon. Okay, this is quite cool. And then Forbidden Light came along and we had a bunch of Pokemon like, for instance, Arceus. Let's use Arceus as an example. And then we had another energy in the form of Beast Energy. And we had another supporter in the shape of Lysander. So at this stage we're all going, right, well this seems fairly clear. We can have Pokemon, we can have supporters, we can have energy. And then Celestial Storm came around and we got a bunch of Pokemon like Latias and nothing else. Which was a little bit weird, but then it wasn't so bad because when Dragon Majesty came along we got Lance and we were like, okay, so supporters are still very much a thing. And then Lost Thunder happened. And in Lost Thunder, we got this big dump of Prism Star stadiums. We got Heat Factory Prism Star, Life Forest Prism Star, and Thunder Mountain Prism Star. And all of a sudden, we're thinking, hang on a second. This is kind of cool. And I don't think it's particularly rude of us to at that point go, well, there's basically 10 different types of energy. Again, there's 11 if you want to go counting colourless. I'm going to leave that one up to you. We've got 3 of them. It makes perfect sense that we would have a bunch of others. And then in Team Up, we got Black Market Prism Star, Wonder Labyrinth Prism Star, and then it ended. And there was a weird overlap here. Now, what really gave me the idea to go and have a look at this is I was looking at probable rotations. And without going into too much detail here, it looks exceedingly likely, and I'm happy to plant my flag in the ground in November 2019, that we will have a rotation in August 2020, might be just after Worlds, but my guess is just before, and the rotation will be to team up on. Because that is essentially the start of the tag team block. That makes a lot of sense to me. Which means we're going to have this weird situation where we've got Black Market Prism Star, Wonder Labyrinth Prism Star, Shaman Prism Star, and Tapu Koko Prism Star that are legal, and every other Prism Star will not be legal. Now, interestingly enough, we did actually have a rotation to Ultra Prism on this August. And the main reason for that was, well, now all of the Prism Star sets are legal and everything pre-Prism Star isn't. It made perfect sense. Well, we're going to end up in this weird situation where 4 Prism Stars are legal, but there were almost 30 of them. That's a little bit weird to me. But what's even weirder is they started printing all of these different stadium types, and then they got bored and stopped. And that kind of upsets me a little bit. Because the whole point was going to be that you chose a particular typing and then you had your stadium to roll with, but that didn't happen. We never got one for Psychic, Metal, Dragon, Water, Fighting, or Colourless. Now, if you want to go full conspiracy theory, Have a look at the way they're ordered on the Pokemon website. Almost like there's an order to them. And they got halfway down and ran out of time. To be completely clear, that was tongue-in-cheek. I don't think for a second that's what actually happened. Fun coincidence, nothing more. So we're still owed a bunch. And we're not going to get them at this stage, let's be clear. Prism Star cards were finished in Team Up. We've had a bunch of sets since then. Cosmic Eclipse has just come out. That is our very last of the Sun and Moon sets. We are now moving into Sword and Shield. Prism Stars are done and over, and they're not coming. Now, obviously, we get our cards from Japan, so Japan didn't actually have all of their stadiums in just 2 sets. They actually had them a little bit more spread out, because they had a main set and then 2 mini sets, main set, 2 mini, and so on and so forth. But the point is, we've been just a little bit hard done by, and I don't know what happened. Did they just have the idea really late? Because bearing in mind, right, Ultra Prism, no stadiums, Forbidden Light, no stadiums, Celestial Storm, no stadiums, and then in Thunder Mountain they were like, oh wait, let's do Prism Star stadiums. And by that point they just didn't have enough time to do all of them. I would say maybe they ran out of ideas, but I don't think that's a fair accusation to make. They got loads of good ideas. So it's a little bit weird to me. What we can do, however, is have a little bit of a look at the ones we got just to remind ourselves. And these were not all created equal. Now, down on the lower end, we had probably Life Forest Prism Star and Black Market Prism Star. Now, Life Forest Prism Star is quite a fun one. It does see play in grass decks. You heal 60 damage in all special conditions. Now, couple sets after it came out, Welder came around making Fire decks nuts good, so that probably didn't help. It sees playing grass decks, but it's not spectacular. Now, Black Market Prism Star really shows us the limitations of Prism Stars generally. I mean, remember the rules, right? You can only have one of each Prism Star in your deck, though you can have as many Prism Stars as you like. And when they got discarded, they never hit the discard pile, they went straight to the lost zone from whence they could not be recovered. Oh. And the thing about Black Market Prism Star, on the face of it, it looks like a phenomenal card. If it is in play, then any Darkness Pokemon with any Darkness energy attached, give up 1 fewer prize. Sounds phenomenal, but the problem is your opponent can just replace a stadium. Now, they were very cool in that item and supporter cards could not get rid of them, so something like Field Blower, for instance, just couldn't remove it from the field. You could still just play your own Prism Star Stadium to get rid of it, and, well, these things happen, right? And the problem is that with something like Black Market Prism Star, your opponent can just replace it, take a KO, and they're gone. Saw play in some Darkness decks, but it really wasn't that amazing. Now, Wondrous Labyrinth Prism Star did see a lot of play and did see a lot of love. Wonder Labyrinth Prism Star, it's called Wondrous Labyrinth, but that's annoying to say. It increases the cost of all non-fairy Pokemon's attacks by 1 colourless energy. And this has been an absolute mainstay staple in fairy decks. And it doesn't always work. Once again, it's very much in your opponent's control. It matters on their turn, so they can just replace a stadium and attack for normal. But the problem is they couldn't always replace a stadium. With Black Market Prism Star, they could gust around it, attack something on the bench, etc. They could remove your energy and then it didn't work. There are many different ways around it. Whereas here, you could sometimes, quite often in fact, just stop your opponent attacking at all. But the two that really have seen the most play are Heat Factory Prism Star and Thunder Mountain. Now, Heat Factory Prism Star, you just discard a fire energy from your hand, draw 3 cards. What's really interesting here is that this is literally just a reprint of Scorched Earth, except it's limited to 1 per deck, and you draw 3 cards rather than the 2 that Scorched Earth would give you. And Scorched Earth worked with fighting energy, this is just fire. The thing is, it's extra draw power. And extra draw power is good. And extra draw power really, really does help out an awful lot of decks. And it is as simple as that. Drawing extra cards is good. Drawing extra cards has always been good. It will always be good. And although this wasn't vital to the success, still pretty darn good. But the real runaway winner, the best one by quite a huge margin, has been Thunder Mountain Prism Star. You see, Thunder Mountain Prism Star reduces the attack cost of all lightning Pokemon by 1 lightning energy. And this is absolutely huge. Because you've got Pokemon like Pikachu and Zekrom, like Raichu and Alolan Raichu. And what's important about them is that they have attack costs for 3 energy. So what you do is you play one of these and all of a sudden they attack for 2 energy. You then play Tapu Koko Prism Star, and when you Lost Zone it from the bench, you get to attach 2 lightning energy from your discard, 1 to each of 2 bench Pokemon. And then all of a sudden you attach from your hand, boom, there's your free energy. What Thunder Mountain does for these Pokemon is it lets you attack now. It gives you a turn 1 attack. It means that you can literally use full blitz, turn 1 going second. That's why Thunder Mountain Prism Star has been so gosh darn good. And I want to know what the Fighting Stadium would have done. I want to know what the Metal Stadium would have done, what the Dragon Stadium, what the Water Stadium would have done. But we never got them. And there's got to be a reason here. Probably they ran out of time and stopped doing Prism Stars and they hadn't been able to print them all. But something happened, ladies and gentlemen. Something happened. And now we've got this weird, hey, half the typings have them, half the typings don't. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Prism Star Stadiums, little bit weird. They were cool. We only got half of them and that confuses me. But I'd like to know your take on this. Why do you think we only ever got half of them? Which one is your favourite? Go nuts in the comment section. But be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.